G'day race fans, welcome back to the final stretch. This is for post race 30 and 31. I'm Dan Southey. As always, joining me is Ash Millar. And Ash, mate, we were planning to do this last week, but I got a bit preoccupied with trying to organise the Adelaide preview and, of course, the interview with that. If anyone hasn't watched that yet, I highly recommend that. Not just because it's a great preview, but I also sat down with Matt from Break Hard, which is a NASCAR YouTube channel, and we had a brief discussion about mainly who Austin Cindric is, Jesse Love, and a little bit of a chat that evolved into SVG's effect on NASCAR and back here in Australia. But we'll finally sit down now to break down where our finalists sit post Sandown and rolling into the final round at Adelaide.
Are you throwing it to me there?
No, I didn't have a plan. I ran out of words, man.
Okay. Alright, so first of all, we'll start off with we were trackside for race 30 and 31. We were sitting up by Mount Dandenong Road.
Turn 9.
Turn 9? That's still right near. I can see Mount Dandy from there.
Yeah, but that's not Mount Dandenong. The corner Mount Dandy's turn 6.
That's all we're saying. We can see turn 6 from there. Can we?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, we can.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Well, we were there for most of the weekend. We weren't for qualifying for race 30. We were down in pit lane.
Yeah, having a squiz, seeing what was going on, seeing what the teams do.
Yeah. So before we delve into each individual drivers, we'll just go through how things have shaken out. With Brock Feeney continues to lead the championship, followed by Chaz Mostert, Will Brown, Kai Allen are our top 4. And then those who did not make the cut is Matt Payne, Thomas Randall, and Cameron Waters. We'll start with Cam here. We'll start with Thomas. I've got my things switched around. Now it seems, Ash, that everything we said about Thomas in the first episode of this series, leading way back to Gold Coast, really just cemented here.
It just shook itself out into place, unfortunately. As many high hopes as you can. The Larry Perkins livery didn't do it for him. Unfortunately.
The classic of the special livery is a curse, but he had a real nothing weekend away for 10 from practice 1, 13 from practice 2. 22nd for qualifying for race 30. Also didn't make the top 10 shootout. Now he did recover the 16th, but that only picked him up a measly 43 points. And then we roll into Saturday. Now Sunday had a much better result for Thomas, a 5th, which meant an appearance in the top 10 shootout. He did do a 9th in the shootout, but unfortunately for him, it was kind of when that weather was moving in, so it was not so much his fault as more where the condition.
Pioneer.
Yeah, where the conditions kind of sat.
Yeah.
I just stuffed my whole Excel sheet. And then it kind of seems a bit of sympathy corner. Moving on to our next driver here, which is his teammate Cam Waters. Now, we discussed a lot in this first episode of the series of Tickford's inconsistency and seems how that can be a team sometimes where the driver the team can let the driver down. Well, that feels like a bit of 50-50 on Thomas's side of the garage. Definitely feels like the team letting Cam down on his side. He seems somewhat strong, a 9th and 8th in practice. Did qualify 10th to make top 10 shootout for race 30. Only managed 9th. From that, he slipped back to 12th in race 30. And then rolling in the Sunday, a 9th again in qualifying, which led him to an 8th in the top 10 shootout. Again, rain affected, so take from that what you will. And then, so he came in the Sunday with a really hard chance. He would need a lot to go right for him to make the 4 after the poor result on Saturday. It was even made comments Saturday night that he was going to come out fighting, and that he did when, Matt Payne, who realistically, and we'll get on to Matt Payne in a second, realistically, Matt didn't really have to entertain that fight with Thomas, with Cam, sorry. Cam had already been quite aggressive. He already picked up a 15 second penalty. 5 seconds, yeah. For a tap with with Will Brown that sent Will Brown off. Arguably, if Will Brown was already going that way, or if Cam helped him or not, can be debated.
Yeah.
But yeah, that incident between the two of them at turn 4 would leave Cam with he lost his rear right tyre and broke his rear right suspension, effectively taking him out of the race. He would finish 21st, which means out of the whole weekend he only scored 88 points, 60 for race 30 and 28 for race 31. Cementing that he, probably one of the biggest names that could have made the finals, and someone that we do know is strong in Adelaide, won't be there.
Yeah, I think he'll still be trying to win the race like everyone else, just to kind of bite back a little bit. But once again, as you said, it's really what Tickford provide for him, and hopefully they provide a fast car. But yeah, he's definitely one of the 4 that we did have going there, but yeah, nothing went right for him, really. Like, he, as you said, started strong, but just couldn't piece it together quite right. Got 60% of the weekend right, and then just fell off on the other 40%.
So he seemed strong. It had flashes of the weekend going well all the way up for that Sunday race. Like, it didn't really convert on Saturday, and then Sunday just flew it all away. Doing something silly with, and speaking of silly, we'll move on to Matt Payne. Now, Matt was having somewhat of a strong weekend, 12th and 15th in practice, but an 8th and 6th, 8th in qualifying, 6th in top 10 shootout for race 30, and a 6th result in race 30 itself for 99 points. Yeah. So, Matt, with the way things were shaking out before the incident, was well in the 4. Yeah, really I think it was clear by 16 or 17 points. As I just said, Matt could have just let Cam go. He would have had enough points. Cam's at that point was not a real risk to his title campaign. Yeah. But nonetheless, they chose to fight each other. Again, leading that incident turn 4. Now, Matt had quite severe damage. He had some form of steering damage. The team decided that they were kind of cooked regardless, so they'll try to do their best to keep the car out for a long period of time, opposed to pulling the car in and fixing it. I think once it's been overtaken by most of the field, that they finally call him in, fix the car just to make it a little more drivable for him. Yeah. But that was, I think everyone can agree, that was something of his own doing. He could have just let Cam go, and he would be in contention in Adelaide.
Yeah, lessons learnt for that one from Matt Payne.
Yeah, and I'll go on. Sorry.
No, don't know what I was going to say next.
I was just going to say is Matt Payne and Cam Waters the rivalry we've been waiting for a long, long time? Because they've had a few instances now. Obviously, the biggest one being at Albert Park last year, where fenced each other.
Yep, and Cam got out and ripped open the Mustang's door and gave Matt a fucking talking to.
Yeah, gave him an education. And then we've had a few bumps and all that throughout the last 2 seasons, and then obviously, maybe Cam didn't care at that point, obviously, but for Matt, that move, which arguably was quite a reckless one, has just cost him a fair shot at being a champion, at least in this year. So, wait to see where the fireworks go from there. Where that did benefit, where Matt Payne did benefit someone else was his own teammate Kai Allen. Now, Kai was firmly out of contention. Due to the basically not double DNF, they both still scored points, but due to the real lack of points allowed, Kyle moved up to 6th, scored another 99 points on top of the 91 points he scored on Saturday with a 7th, and put him firmly into the top 4. So what a year Kai Allen is having.
What a rookie year, as they would tell you, mate.
Yes, what absolute crazy scenes. A little bit of reflection on, and he had a strong weekend. I noticed that he out-qualified Matt in every session. So for race 30, a 4th to Matt's 8th in the top 10 shootout that session, a 5th to Matt's 6th. In race 31, a 3rd to Matt's 4th, and then a 5th to Matt's 7th in the top 10 shootout. Pretty much the only place where I did know they did swap early in the piece in race 30. But yeah, no, a very strong Kyle Allen. He did require some pain on his teammate's side, pun not intended, for him to gain into the four. But nonetheless, he kept his nose clean. He was racy. He was competitive.
Did what he had to
Do what he had to, and didn't do anything silly like getting involved in fights he didn't have to be. And like that, there was some chat on the commentary about because obviously the teams very openly said they prefer Matt. Understandably, Matt's the established driver.
Yeah.
And they put it to Couchy, are you going to... Because I think Kyle had to lose about 3 positions. If he dropped down to 9th or 10th, points-wise, that would bring Matt Payne back into the 4. And they will say, would you consider semi-retiring the car, telling Matt to back off and let a few cars through? And Couchy's response was pretty simple of, no. Matty did something silly and put himself in a situation he probably shouldn't have been, and Kai's ran a clean and hard race. Kai's in that position, and he's now in the 4.
Yeah, and that's good. That's really, like as you said, looking at his results, it's all top 10 bar practice. So he's done really well there to just put in the weekend that was needed from himself at a track I believe he's familiar with. I don't think they rambled on about him being there for his first time ever. So it's
I think he's been there before.
Him get up there.
He's been there before in Super 2.
Yeah.
And without doubt, I think he would have done a couple of ride days over his time there.
And vastly, just looking at the other names that we're about to go through, I know we've said he's a rookie, but it really shows up how much experience he's going up against into Adelaide.
Well, I saw and I think I might put something on TikTok about this later. I saw this clip from the Speed Cafe podcast where they were saying, and I get where he's coming from. He was saying, I hope Kai doesn't win, and his point was saying, for the naysayers, the people that don't like finals, they're going to use that as a prime example about why finals isn't fair. That a rookie who hasn't even won a race in main game, which definitely will come, one at some point, might even come this weekend.
Yeah. How
can a rookie who didn't win a race be champion? And my response to that is a couple things. One, we just saw sorry, I had a mind blank. I've forgotten his name. We just seen a driver win into Ollie something. Sorry. You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, no, his name's escaped me too. I'll keep talking. I'll get it up.
Yeah, you do that. So Ollie, who's part of the RMS Academy, just won the Toyota GR Cup Series without a single win, just purely on consistency. In terms of a champion winning, I think it was Rick Kelly in 2006, won only one race. I think there's been only 2 or 3 years throughout the time that drivers have won a title with only winning 3 or 4 races that year. Yeah. Even Will Brown last year, I think Will Brown only had about 5 race wins. So, but my biggest argument to that whole sentiment is, it's a bit unfair, at least for this first year, that a rookie should win because it's not going to look good, is, let's look who Kai and Grover are up against. Kai's a rookie, has never raced an Adelaide main game. He's with Grove, who's still a very developing team. They're a very fastly developing team, but they are still developing. And they're up against Will Brown and Brock Feeney, who are Triple Eight drivers.
Yeah.
In the Triple Eight, both established drivers. Will Brown's a champion. Brock's been knocking on the door for a few years.
Yeah.
He's been a dominant all the way through up until the Enduros. Triple Eight Race Engineering, the most dominant team in Supercars history. That's always been near and abouts. And then the 4th driver in the lineup, Chaz Mostert, now an outer statesman. I think someone said he's going to be the oldest driver on the main game grid next year with all the rookies coming in, which is scary. With Walkinshaw Andretti United, formerly Holden Race Team, again, well established, had much success in the past. Maybe not so much in recent times, but if you look at the pace that they're on throughout finals, it's something they've clearly worked for. And my argument's going to say, if WAU and Triple Eight and those 3 drivers do such a piss poor job that they lose over 3 races to a rookie and a growing team that have a 50-point disadvantage, that's on them.
I agree 100%. Also, just noting our GR Cup champion was Ollie Wickham.
That's it.
Who did
Do you want what I had in my head? I had Wicked. I had Wicked in my head going like
you were damn close.
I'm like I know it's not Wicked.
Yeah,
It's
that's the movie that came out, man. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, go on, man.
I was just gonna say for Chaz getting up here amongst this whole thing, one name that isn't on here, but I think should definitely be thrown about is Ryan Wood's efforts at Sandown. I think that was fucking mega, and a lot of people gained respect for him. Even the drivers that couldn't get past him because he just rear gunned that much.
Well, we'll get on to the top three and Ryan Wood in a second. We'll start with our man in third, Will Brown, the reigning champion, a man who cannot qualifying despite all beliefs and science.
But good God, he can climb a totem.
He can climb up to the point of I don't know if you saw this on Lucky Dogs. Will Brown's partner brought like a spell off Etsy from some witch to America for Will to get through to Adelaide. So obviously that's working for him. But like as I said, yeah. So as you say, can't qualify. An average practice sessions with 11th and 7th. Qualifying for race 30. Qualified 15th, which means he did not progress to top 10 shootout. Recovered to second. How he did that, don't know. Black magic. And then moving on to qualifying for race 31, qualified 17th. So somehow went worse.
Server, yeah. I think he got a bit of vigour up him from the day beforehand.
Yeah, and finished third. So
that's an even bigger climb.
That's a big climb, and he arguably could have, if it wasn't for the tail gunning actions of Ryan Wood, definitely could have won that race 30.
Yeah, absolutely, because Chaz was dropping off a bit of pace there for race 31.
Chaz, I think he hit really at the end of his tyres.
Yeah.
Speaking of Chaz, we'll roll into Chaz now. Chaz, I'd say had a B+ weekend. Like he had a very good weekend with one big smudge. So, strong throughout practice, second for both practices, third in qualifying for race 30, and then converted that to second in the top 10 shootout. No apologies. And then would go on to win that race. He took the lead off Ryan pretty much immediately at the start. And then I think Ryan had some older tyres, so they boxed him earlier. And then when it came, he near the end of the race would let Chaz through and tail gun against originally against Brock Feeney, who Brock had a bit of pace at that point. And then as Brock fell away, Will emerged and held off Will up until about 3 laps to go, which gave Chaz the margin he needed to eke that out. So maximum points from Saturday. Wouldn't go as well on Sunday, and 8th in qualifying, then converted again to second in the top 10 shootout.
Yeah.
Now, he initially got held up when the rain came. They did prioritise Ryan Wood, bit of a payback on Sunday, because as being a race winner, the points no longer mattered. Chaz was locked in regardless. But unfortunately, that meant that Chaz did get to stay out on the wets longer, not just because he was a single car in line, but also Ryan's wood spindle just broke in the pit lane. It took him two laps from to figure out what they're going to do, and they finally bring in. So he lost quite a heap of spots being stuck out in the rain. And then he would have an off in turn 4, which cost him about 15 odd seconds of lap time. Luckily, didn't damage the car too bad. So he was running about that 6th mark. But due to the previous mentioned damage caused between the 19 and the 6, he did move up to 4th to finish that race. So he did gain the championship lead, but has relinked it back to Feeney. So yeah, as I said, really that's the only thing you could put against Chaz's whole weekend was that off at turn 4 in changeable conditions. Righto, so Ash's computer just crashed, so it'll just be me for the final part of this session. So we'll just finish up wrapping up a quick discussion about where Chaz was, and then we'll finally finish up here with the final drive we got here. Championship leader, Brock Feeney. A bit of a tough one for him in practice 1, 18th. Practice 2, bounced back for 14th. Strong in qualifying across both races. For race 30, he qualified 2nd, but then dropped to 7th. And then coming home for 4th, behind Ryan Wood and his teammate Will Brown. rolling into Sunday, 7th in qualifying, managed to put it pole primarily just before those really wet conditions came in, and then led from pole to the win. He did have a bit of a battle with Anton De Pasquale for a little bit, but as the rain came in, Brock got back in front. So almost maximum points for Brock as well. That regains him the lead into Adelaide. Now speaking of Adelaide, again the points are reset. So from our top four of Brock, Chaz, Will, and Kai, the gap from Brock in first and Kai in fourth is only 50 points. Now over this weekend we're going to be fighting over 3 races. So it'll be 50 points for winning the Friday race, and then 125 points for winning either of the Saturday Sunday races. So on the line, yeah, Brock's pretty much the favourite here. Brock does have a bit of speed here. He really should have won that race. The last race of the year last year, if he didn't get tangled up with Chaz Mostert. But speaking of Chaz Mostert, Chaz is very fast here too. Will, maybe not so much. He did go from first to last. But how much that was enhanced last year by everything else that was going on, or versus the actual pace from him. So you really can't. Really feels like a 2-way fight between Brock and Mostert. Will's in the mix. As I said earlier, I'd like to see Kai do it. I don't think Kai is going to is going to be champion this year. But like I said, if he does such a great job and the other 3 and the other 2 teams do such a poor job, that's on them. You know, it's not Kai's job to be bad. It's on everyone else's job to be really good. So, and look, he's made himself all the way to the top 4 in his rookie year. He won his Super 2 year in a year that everyone said he probably shouldn't have won it. Okay, he came back the following year and lost it when he probably should have won it. But still, you know, he has pedigree in pulling championships out of nowhere. So I think that's where I'll leave it. Thank you for watching. We'll try and keep this one nice and short. We hopefully should be back over the weekend with some more of these little episodes between the races. We'll see how things shake out. And good luck to our Championship 4. Thanks for watching.